Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Live. My name's Clare Watson. I'm an international board certified lactation consultant based in Cheshire and Staffordshire. My company is called Nutrition and Nurture. Today we're going to have a bit of a chat about being responsive but also being active. So how can you fit a baby in with a really ridiculously active lifestyle? So I'm very pleased to welcome Becky.
Hey guys.
All right, Becky, if you don't mind just introducing yourself a little bit and we'll have a bit of a chat about what your life was like before Cron came along.
So I'm Becky and this is Cron. He's just over 11 weeks old. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and CrossFit. I don't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as much as I was doing pre-pregnancy. I now focus on CrossFit a bit more because of how good it was to me during the pregnancy. In Jiu-Jitsu, I would usually compete. Haven't got a chance to compete in CrossFit yet because I signed up for competitions and then became pregnant, happily. But yes, I used to compete a lot in Jiu-Jitsu. And
what sort of level? What are we talking about? Because we're not talking my sort of level.
So it was like mostly nationally, and then I competed internationally, so like in Germany, Portugal, France and Japan was a really cool one.
Yeah, so it's quite central to your life then, really.
Yeah, massively, and you travel with it and stuff like that, and that's something that we hope to do with Cron.
Yeah. Okay, so talk me through like a typical day before you were pregnant.
Yes.
Exercise wise.
So before I was pregnant, that would be that I'd wake up and do the 6 a.m. class at CrossFit First Spirit, where I train in Congleton. My husband and I would then go to Jiu-Jitsu. We train in Manchester Piccadilly under Lucio Sergio. So we'd do a morning class, say I think it was about 10 or 10:30. So that's like an hour of drilling and then half an hour of sparring. Then we do an afternoon sparring class after grabbing some lunch. And then many times we'd stay on for the evening class, which would then be drilling and sparring as well.
Yeah, okay.
And then go home, have tea, sleep, and then
get
do
up
the same thing
for the next day. Okay, so obviously then you became pregnant.
Yeah.
How did things change at that point?
So where you have, before the 12-week scan and you don't really tell people, it just meant that I was still training Jiu-Jitsu, but I wasn't, because we hadn't told anybody, I didn't tell them, so I just kind of had to make excuses up,
right,
as to why I couldn't spar at Jiu-Jitsu. So I had to say like my back hurt and stuff like that. And the guys that usually I train hard with are like, oh, why are you not sparring? I think some of them must have guessed it. At CrossFit, stuff didn't really change in that first 12 weeks. I started to scale, like do different movements.
Okay.
About from 12 weeks, 16 weeks.
Okay. And you had quite a lot of support from your trainers and things.
Yeah, so my coach at CrossFit, he's really good. Like there's been a couple of other women that have been pregnant whilst training. Yeah, obviously he's not necessarily gone through it himself, but he's seen many other women do it and he's helped train them. So yeah, he was really helpful with the scaling. And people that I follow on Instagram, there's a lot of good resources on Instagram. It's surprising because from the very start and at every single antenatal appointment with the midwives, I said, oh, I'm still doing CrossFit and I do Jiu-Jitsu, and they never once asked me, oh, what does that entail? Like, what do you actually do? They just said, okay, listen to your body, you know when to stop. They didn't really offer much advice, whereas I actually got more information from women that I follow on Instagram, and like a lady that I follow called Ree Pearson. She's done CrossFit for years. She's got a 6-7 month old now, and
so quite a close community.
Yeah, exactly. And you can message them and they'll reply to you, and like tell you options and stuff.
Okay. But you were able to keep exercising all the way through your pregnancy.
Yeah, so I carried on doing CrossFit right up until the night before my waters broke.
Wow.
So Cron was actually born on his due date, and that was a Sunday. I did the 6 p.m. class on the Friday, and then my water started to break 3 a.m. the next morning.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, right to the wire there.
Yeah. Jiu-Jitsu I didn't do much. I think I did it about 4 or 5 times during the whole pregnancy. Okay. It was always something that I said I'd keep doing, but it it's a lot of core jiu-jitsu is. Like,
Right.
I still haven't gone back to it now. I've done one session.
Because you need to kind of build up that and give yourself time to recover, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and juggling. And all the mum and baby classes. Yeah. I love mum and baby classes. Sorry, jiu-jitsu.
The new tribe.
Yeah.
So what were your expectations for when Crom was going to come along? What did you think? How did you think it was going to work?
I don't think my husband or I expected him to change our lives quite so much. I don't think you fully appreciate it until you actually have a baby.
Yeah.
But I think it's working well now. Like, I do a lot of things that I used to do, but just with a baby in tow, which is what I presumed would happen.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I saw you pretty early days.
Yeah.
And you said, oh yeah, but we've got a competition on Sunday, and I'm doing all the organisation. We're just going to take him along. I was like, rock on, mummy.
Yeah, exactly. So my husband and I organised jiu-jitsu competitions for a living.
Yeah.
And he went to his first one at 2 weeks old. It wasn't that like where we have like people in place now, so that I don't need to do the running around and stuff at the event. But it was a lot different from the 2 weeks one. He was in the lay down bit of the pram, and I took him out to feed him and change him.
Yeah.
But on the 6 weeks one, it was a lot busier of a competition. It was hot. It was a London event, so it was really busy. And he just wanted to be on me. So I think where he was going through his 6 week leap as well.
Okay.
They
change quite quickly, don't they, in the first few weeks?
Yeah. I think it's interesting for people that work at the competition to see, because they see him like once a month. But yeah, he's changed so much in his speeches and stuff already.
Yeah, he's getting a big grown-up boy now. Yeah. So that in that first competition, he was obviously not very mobile, was happy just lying there and being fed. So how did you cope in that second one when he was a bit more clingy?
I just focused on him. So I I told George and my friend Rach, who helps at the competitions, she does a lot of it. They didn't really ask me for stuff. Like, I had a walkie-talkie on, and they check if I was all right. But I was either holding him or he was in the sling.
Yeah.
So then the next day I actually had like a pain in my back,
and
it was literally from carrying him all day, I think, because he just wanted to be on me
to get the right sort of carrier and make sure it's all fitted and things.
Exactly.
So, but slings can be such a massive
lifesaver.
Yeah.
Even from the first, I think he was like 1 or 2 weeks old when I first went back to the gym. I wasn't training. I just went down just for the social aspect, because just being cooped up in the house and stuff, you can see how people get like postnatal depression and things like that, and not necessarily full on that, but certainly feel isolated. Yeah, exactly, definitely. So I just put him in the sling and I'd go down there, and where he was still in that newborn stage where I didn't really want many people like, breathing on him or touching him, I could just have him close to me in the sling. It's your protective barrier then. Yeah, exactly. I could just say, oh, look, his face, here's his face, but you can't see any more of him.
Don't touch.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, bless you. Okay, so how have things kind of panned out since then in terms of exercise?
So I've taken him along a few times to CrossFit. So I've taken him with his little chair that he bats his toys and stuff like that, and I've done a workout. Taken him in the pram, and one of the owners, Becky, she's actually stood there, and we were doing a workout in the park, and she was walking around with the pram, and at the gym she's pushed him back and forth in the pram.
There's some pretty good classes and things around now, aren't there, for like sort of pram fit type thing?
Oh, I'm really interested. If I would have asked me for pram fit, I do actually want to try that. They do have mum and baby class CrossFit that I did a bit.
And the impression that I get is that the gyms are actually, or certainly some of them are actually fairly accepting and encouraging.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I was, when he wanted feeding whilst I was at the gym, at first I was taking him upstairs and feeding him upstairs, and my friend would come up and talk to me. And then I just started feeding him downstairs because he wanted feeding straight away. So I was like, why not?
Yeah, you're an exercise babe. Yeah. So looking at it now, obviously it takes quite a lot to kind of change your mindset a little bit, doesn't it, to having the baby? So obviously you were quite an independent person early on.
And
you didn't expect a lot of things to change, and you thought you'd just kind of fit in. But one of the things that I've really enjoyed watching with you guys is that even though you are so active and so out and about, you're still completely responsive to him.
So I don't let him, like, I don't know, some people are like, oh, he's fine, just leave him for a minute if he's crying, and I'm like, no, he's crying, he wants me, he needs me, like. So I think like you say, like a balance and stuff like that.
Because I think some people feel that when they've got a newborn or something like that, that they have to stay at home. And if they're being responsive, that means they're going to be stuck on the sofa, and that's the only place that you can be.
No, I have. I think on the 9-week one, like the leap, it hit him a bit more, and I'd be in Costa and I was feeding him for like 30-40 minutes, and that's not really a length of time that I'm used to doing in Costa. But I'm like, that's fine, you know, I go in Costa all the time, I can ask one of them to bring me a drink, or I know it's not a table service, but you know, I'll take I'll be a diva and ask someone, and you know, you see people that you know, and they're like, it's nice if someone's like, do you want me to get you anything? Like, obviously you can't really like move from the spot.
So have you found it okay feeding out and about?
So I don't know if it's like, say, like, if I'm just a confident person in general, I never really thought about it, and I've had a really good response. I've had people just like smiling at me and saying, oh, how lovely, and an older lady stopped to talk to me in Costa, and she said that her granddaughter was due, and she was saying that her daughter was a bit worried about breastfeeding and stuff, and I said, oh, check out Facebook page like Nutrition and Nurture, like, because the workshop absolutely saved us. Like, I don't think I appreciate it as much as I do now at the time.
You don't know that you need it until you're in the situation.
Exactly. And I think it's good that my husband went as well, because there was stuff that I couldn't remember that he did, like where I had chrome bisection. The rugby hold just absolutely saved me, and I completely forgot about it. But George was like getting the pillow out, and he's saying, get him in the position. Like,
he's been great as well. It's really good to have a supportive
definitely
partner there. I know at times he's been a bit kind of almost bemused by it all.
He just like nods and smiles and just cracks on, and he's, you know, like, we use cloth nappies, like reusables, and I don't know where the idea came from. I think I must have just seen it online when I was up at 2 a.m. when I was pregnant.
Oh, that looks like a good plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I said it to him, and he never said, like, he never like, oh, it sounds a bit. He just was like, okay, that's what we're doing then.
And how have you found those then?
Really good, really good. Yeah, we've never had any, like, you know, you see the pictures of the explosions up the back and stuff like that.
Yeah, with the normal.
We've not really had anything like that.
Interesting. And are you finding, again, that's something which people worry about, being out and about with only cloth nappies, but you found it okay?
Yeah, definitely. We just have a wet bag and you just take them home and wash them. But
I think it is like no one's avoiding you because you stink.
No, exactly. No, you can't even tell really. And then I think it's another one of those things where people, like my mum at the start, would be like, oh yeah, I'll give you 3 days, and where she didn't breastfeed for that long because there's not the support that there is now, like you. She was like, oh yeah, well, you don't have to, you know, don't feel bad if you do this. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but I want to do these things, like I can do these things. And like financially, we haven't got that monthly expense of formula or nappies. So really, like,
actually, it's a good point with especially with the nappies and
the initial outlay
so much better for the environment as well.
Yeah, there's an investment at the start, but.
And did you do the you can get free packs and things through the council through Cheshire?
Yeah, so I sent them a receipt of nappies that I spent money on, and they sent me some high street vouchers and stuff. And then at Ruby's Fund there was some free reusable nappies, like so. Added them to our,
and they're much more widely available now as well. I've seen them in Aldi and all sorts of places.
Yeah, definitely. So it's reusable nappy week this week and last week. So there's loads of offers on at the moment and stuff. So it's definitely.
We do post on that then, Excellent. Well, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us. It's brilliant, and I'm looking forward to just watching you, because I think you are going to be just as active as your mummy, aren't you? Okay. Bye for now. See you next week.
Thanks, bye.
If I can end it. There we go. Where I did it.